What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Voodoo Glow Skulls, and we're returning to Firme, their 1995 album. This was the one that I listened to the most back in the day. I did also have Baile de los Locos, which I think was the following album, but I've since lost the disc. I have the album cover up on my music wall here. I think it's, right there, but I don't have the disc anymore. At some point I'll probably try to replace that, but in more recent years I have gotten a couple other of their albums, including an '07 album called Southern California Street Music, which is unique among their catalog, at least up until that point, because I believe it was the first one which didn't feature any cover songs at all, whereas all their earlier albums, including Firme, have at least a few covers. And I got one from, I want to say now, like 7 or 8 years ago, but Live in the Apocalypse, which is after one of the founding members. There are 3 brothers who founded the band, and I think Frank, the lead singer, eventually left the band, but the other 2 brothers have continued, and other people have joined the band. And that one I haven't listened to at all, so at some point I'll start going through that. But yes, I wanted to continue through with some more from Firme, and we're going to listen to a short tune, mostly in the punk rock style, which is to say they're a classic example of a band that fuses punk rock and ska. And some of their tunes lean a bit more heavily one way or the other. This one, it doesn't have the brass that a lot of their songs do, and which again you can see is part of their design aesthetic on a lot of their releases. So I put this one more in the punk rock category, and it's about going to thrift shops. It's called Thrift Shop Junkie, and it's a very comedic tune. The lyrics are all about like, hey, I buy these plaid pants at a thrift shop, and I bought a pair of pointy shoes for $1.92, but don't laugh at me. And in fact, if you laugh at me, I'm not going to get mad, because this shirt probably was your dad's. So there's a comedic bent to the lyrics, which I suppose is pretty common, at least for their songs back in the day. Again, more recently, I'm not sure, but I would expect that to have continued. But yeah, it's about something that I think a lot of punk rock folks, and obviously people outside the punk rock community, but within punk rock specifically, there are a lot of folks who used to get most of their clothes at thrift shops. And indeed, sometimes you can find things just for the sake of being a bargain, but in other cases you might find a piece of clothing from, an earlier decade, which suddenly, has a bit of a retro coolness, especially if you're a punk and you're, doing things and dressing differently than most other people. So it's a tune that I think speaks to the Voodoo Glow Skulls style, to a habit or a notable trend within the punk rock community, and also the comedy that is present in a lot of Voodoo Glow Skulls songs. So let's listen to it. It's pretty short, as I said. I want to say it's about 1.5 minutes. Well, Luca, you are right behind my chair here. This is Voodoo Glow Skulls, Thrift Shop Junkie, from their 1995 album, Firme. Go ahead and laugh, I won't get mad. This shirt used to be your dad's. I love it. And there was a line I forgot in there, the line about, I bought this shirt with yesterday's lunch money. The idea that if you skip a single meal, you could probably find a compelling shirt or a plaid pair of pants or a pair of pointy shoes, and who knows, he might buy 2. So yeah, I enjoy, again, there's a truth to the song within the world of punk rock, but there's also a lot of comedy, which, as I said, is very Voodoo Glow Skulls. So yeah, it's a great album. It's one that ultimately I did start going through a couple years ago, but this is one that sort of fell off, and you know, I sort of cycle through when I'm doing punk rock reactions. I'll remember an album, someone will comment on an album, and so on. So yeah, this one came back on my radar, so we'll go through some more songs. I'll see if I can find another copy of Baile de los Locos, or at least, you know, maybe find it online. And as I said, there's a couple other albums that I haven't reacted to at all, including one I've never actually gone through, even though I did buy it several years ago now. So yeah, we'll go through that together. Let me know what you think of this song. I will see you next time. Peace.